Okay, I'm gonna bring up Jennifer Dean slash Jennifer Barnes and her appeal, and it gives you a little bit more in-depth view on somebody that was paid $20 in a murder case, supplied the murder weapon, the place to come back to, uh, the refuge, pretty much come back and sleep at night after you go kill somebody. You can come back and stay at my place, and I'll help you get rid of the weapon and the clothes, everything like that. Mind you, Jennifer was one of the very, very last ones from this drug ring. And when I go into drug ring, her connections in around the same drug ring, that has been proven. And White Wall overlooks this and makes you wonder, why do they overlook it when this same drug ring has admitted Garrett Kurtz, Ashley Garth, they both admit to killing Nicole over what? This drug ring, and the fear they were going to say, pretty much roll on them in that drug ring, their operation that they all belong to. Gets a little bit bigger than what meets the eye there when you've got elected officials, some high up names, including inside Delphi. If you actually would open your mind, open your eyes, would Delphi, if Del Wood, Derrick German, Joshua Lank, and a multitude of others, them and the ones around them, if their drugs, what came to find out, would be the exact reason, the motivation, the cause, what would have got the girls to be killed, if that is in play, would it get all this airtime on talk shows, on all these news stations, everything like that, all this, like, hundreds of thousands of dollars coming in, like, donation wise? Would that be in play? Question yourselves, would that be in play? It would not be media friendly, it would not be camera friendly, and it'd be something you would really want to be hidden. Why? Because it's not camera friendly, it's not talk show friendly, and it doesn't paint a clean, really clean picture like you've been wanting. But it's just really freaking weird when you got people sitting like Jennifer, 60 years behind bars, was the last person from this drug ring. And yes, I will go into Florida. I will go into the court case on the witness list, and I will look up every single witness for the lawsuit, the drug ring, their convictions, their ties, and their involvement in the same exact drug ring that Toby Garth, his daughter Ashley Garth, Garrett Kurtz, Derrick German, you've got Joshua Lank, Del Wood. Many of these names go back into just like Blaine McClellan, Nicholas McClellan's first cousin. His own family dealt for this exact same cartel drug ring. Facts. There's another elected official, Needed Up, the assessor, the one that was best buddies with guess who? Mike and Becky Patty. Why? When they assess properties in Carroll County, they would go see who? At whose office? Needed Up. Her own son, friends with guess who? Derrick German and all his little drug-dealing buddies. This ring is getting overlooked, and I'd like to seriously know how. It must help when you got elected officials, prosecutors, judges, all friends of some of these individuals that wouldn't look good if this drug ring is the exact reason why more than one person's been killed. It's already been proven more than once. So, how many of you are overlooking this? Oh, there's nothing to see here. Oh, there's no reason they would act they've killed before, and they will kill again. So yeah, there is very, very, very applicable reason on why you need to look at this drug ring, this operation. Some of the names that keep showing up around case after case after case, but nothing to see here. But it just gives you some ideas on why she's trying to appeal her case. And I want you to keep in mind another dealer under Gabriel Ellis, right there in Florida, which would be Christy Lynn Martin, is another one. Uh, it's been talked about like by her own sister, that not only was her sister involved with Delphi and the other issues of this drug ring, but Christy's niece has been said to be at the bridge, been around individuals, and if you look back at all these names, back to the names even around her, makes you wonder. Really makes you wonder. It doesn't just more than makes you wonder, it really makes you wonder why so many of these names, this drug ring, these affluent families, need to make sure they have a picture friendly, a camera friendly, a talk show friendly picture. You have to keep a look at. Only look here. Don't look at that. That'll make us look bad. All of us look bad. Don't look there. Look only over here, what we were wanting to show you. But this just talks about the conspiracy to commit the murder of 2021 individual from Lafayette. And you're seeing right here, as it shows right here in the, that's the baseball bat used for the murder. And it just gives you a really, really deep view. If Jennifer was involved with the murder for $120, only getting $20 with the $120, was one of the very last people to leave the Flora house right just minutes before the Flora fire that killed the 4 little girls in Flora. She was the last person to leave that house from that drug ring. And yes, it's been talked about that drug ring using that house to help move their drugs. And when I open up and I actually start looking and showing you guys each and every single name that was sitting on that witness list for the money, for the lawsuit, it really makes you wonder, whoa, why is this dealer or this person in and around the drug ring, name after name after name, sitting on the witness list? Why is each and every single one of them affiliated with the same drug ring? Some of the same names go back in other cases. And it just gives you a real clear idea it just instead of trying to read all this to you and kind of taking a lot of time today, I'm just kind of reading over this, and you can find it on lawjustia.com, right where I'm reading it from. And it just it just it's really shoddy. Oh, yeah, I did it. But yeah, I'm gonna backtrack and I'm gonna take $20 for somebody else committing a murder with the murder weapon I supplied. Uh, gave the location where they can clean up, get unbloody, change of clothes, kind of act like they were at their place. But yet, when it comes down, oh, you're getting 60 years, you're gonna freak out and want to appeal. I think while this 6 years is going on, pretty much already a life sentence, individuals like Jennifer and others that keep showing up names around many other cases, missing, killed, straight up murdered, need to be put in a hot seat. Because I'm telling you, this group, these names go back to the serial killing issue. Not just one, not two, not three, but when you have multiple missing and killed cases, and these names, these ties, this group keeps showing up. Nothing to see here just blows my mind. When, like I've showed you, when it comes to like Ashley Garth and uh, Anna Williams, she's already admitted she's been longtime family friends with Ashley, her dad Toby. I'll get to Toby here in a second, where he was the manager of a agricultural co-op, and what was sold at this co-op, ammonia, among other uh, farming essentials for farmers here in Indiana. We call it a co-op, and it's CO-OP, and it's a cooperation with agricultural goods like ammonia, pesticides. You get the idea. But there's just a lot in here. I would keep going over on this, and I'll go over this a little bit deeper, but give me a second. I'm gonna pause here. But here's one of, like, I think it was probably about 9-10 different pages for Jennifer Dean slash Barnes. Again, Carly Babcock. You got Del Wood, which is the Diller, Del Wood, and dealt for the same ring as his nephew, Derrick Sherman, sold for. Imagine that. Then you got Terry German, Brad German's wife. The same Terry German that has the affiliations back to Mark McClellan. Imagine that. Toby Garth. And where Toby comes into play is, again, his daughter. When Derrick German and Dustin Prater went to steal the ammonia from the co-op there in Delphi, guess who was the manager at the time? How many times was this allowed to happen? How many times was the amount of meth that was left in these tanks rewritten to show that there was none missing? Was he getting a pinch off the top after they would sell the ammonia or give the ammonia off to manufacture the meth? After the meth was sold, was he getting a cut to look the other direction as one of the main managers at the one location that keeps getting hit? Everybody thinks I'm nuts. Well, it's nothing too nutty to think about when you're actually thinking when it comes to the same drug ring that's killed for this same drug ring and individuals in and around it to keep what? This drug ring from being seen. Prosecuted. But then, like I said, you got Christy Lynn Martin. And just like Jennifer, Christy is friends with a Flora City Council member, as well as Anthony Thomas, which is a Flora firefighter at the time. It's just weird that these names keep popping in one after another, but nothing to see here. And I'm going to dig in and I'm going to bring up some names for the Flora, and we're going to go look into some histories of people, convictions, dealing, the affiliations in and around this drug ring. Yet again, Colton Creasy, Jennifer Dean, and a few other names. And when you keep seeing these names over and over and over, like Harley Babcock, the Tulleys that she's family with, Trevor, his brother, I've already brought up in other videos, and nothing to see here. There's another thing I'm going to bring up right here. The person in red, right next to Galen. Jennifer. Now, here's where it gets interesting. On Friday, December 2nd, 2016, at approximately 10:15, Jennifer Barnes came to the Florida Police Department for an interview. I'm going to let you guys kind of read this because it'd just take longer if I read it off. If Corey and Galen had a relationship that went beyond friendship, Jennifer stated Corey and Galen are friends only. Asked Jennifer if Galen had a boyfriend, Jennifer said Galen's boyfriend was Colton Creasy. Another name. Yeah, I'm just going to keep letting you guys kind of read on here for a minute. And I'm going to read over a few parts where I'm going to bring up some names. But I want you to keep in mind, Colton Creasy and Jennifer, they dated each other and was in and around this drug ring for years before Galen ever come into the scene. And one thing I want to bring up when it comes to like single mothers in this drug ring, they've already said ISP Carter ruled out Galen, her involvement in the girl's death and the murders. But the ones that are coming around her, and this is where you cannot get the full truth out of Galen. But I feel they were using her and that place she was renting with the girls. One thing you hear during Colton's interview a lot, time and time again, until this ring and these individuals started coming around, was the fear of not making funds meet. And while I'm talking, keep going on, reading in to what I was bringing up this, but I was bringing up this for the fact that during Colton Creasy's interview, he kept bringing up the fact that Galen was always worried about making ends meet, paycheck to paycheck, barely at that, making bills match up at the end of the month, let alone have any left for the kids, herself, their needs. They was always worried about the money issue. That was brought up a few times during Colton's interview, that I've noticed this ring, this cartel ring, where they start getting some of these trap houses. There's two in Delphi. There's a major one, a Latino ran, how would you put it? It's a Mexican family ran car repair shop over in Frankfurt. I've got a former dealer back in 2015 that was arrested and raided, talking about getting fronts from that cartel ring right there in Frankfurt from that location. I'll bring that up later on, but there's a lot more that law knows about, and when it comes to these families and some of these names back to this ring and around it, why is this ring not being looked at? It really makes you wonder. And this is hmm. Mind you, this is just minutes before the fire. Hmm. And here is the witness list. We got Adam Ayers, John and Judy, Courtney Dons, Jennifer, her husband at the time, Corey, Colton Creasy, Ernest Pitts Jr., you got Shane Hernandez, Shailene Hernandez, Sarah Tillman, Christopher Tillman, Devontae Wright, and what I'm going to get at is if you actually look at some of these names, and I'll do that probably in next few videos. But what I was getting at is if you actually start looking at some of these in each and every single witness on Galen's side, back to their own history in around this drug ring, kind of gets really concerning when you start noticing so many names that go back to this ring, and this ring has been proven. Derrick Kurtz, Ashley Garth killing a Nicole Bowen, and I don't think anybody's going to take me seriously until I show the email that I sent the prosecutor's office, the names in around this drug ring, and what finally had them turn around and look at, whoa, when we have an IMPD officer down in Indianapolis, the same drug ring, names in and around it, go back to cases around Indianapolis, missing, killed, and straight up murdered, that go back to this drug ring. There is ties and connections. Well, I took those names back to Delphi, Karina, their cases, and I showed the prosecutor on Derrick Kurtz and Ashley Garth's case against Nicole Bowen. What they were saying, lie after lie, making excuse after excuse after excuse on why it happened. In reality, they were afraid she was going to roll on them on the drug ring and their involvement. Not only that, there is a certain individual, and I've got the conversation still between me and them. It wasn't until Yet another one, YouTuber, Anthony Greeno, comes around. It seems like once he comes around and it goes back to his dealers with the meth, where he was spending a lot of his money that YouTubers, not YouTubers, but people watching his YouTube would donate to him, was going back directly to this ring for his meth, his buddy's meth. But this is where things are going to get really interesting when it comes to uh, Miss Pluckett, uh, friend of his, user, is always around him, hanging around him, and a few other names, like Jennifer, came with him 2018, did a video right there in Delphi at the bridge, kind of partial reenactment. It's a lot of the things that even him and his buddies, like Jennifer, him, and the ones, even his dealers, his buddies that are still around and involved in this drug ring, they make sure you only look at certain direction. And if you start looking past this direction, they're going to try everything in their power, including him and using his YouTube still to this day. Don't look there. Don't look at my buddies. Don't look at my dealers. Look away. But when you don't, and you look and use social media, they've done it in multiple cases where this network analysis, think of it that way. Look up what network analysis means. And like I said, I can easily, here in a few, I'm going to look all these names up. Their convictions in around this drug ring. It's going to show left and right. There's some things not being said, and it's involving a few families, yes, that their victims are involved in, what they're not telling you. And if you would get this out of them, you'll start noticing where all these names keep going in and around the same drug ring, and then around multiple different cases. The next couple days, I'm going to start doing a real deep dive on all these cases, the names that keep showing around these cases, their social media, and off social media connections to each other. But nothing to see here. This just gives you guys a little idea what I'm in the process of the next couple days of really deep dive and exposing. And ask yourselves, would the McClellands, being the main prosecutor, if his family was dealing and involved with the same drug ring that killed not one, not two, but multiple people, would they be allowed to be the prosecutor? Would a special federal prosecutor be needed involved? And it makes you wonder where this drug ring is involved, but yet multiple cases like Flora and a few others like Logansport fires. The two that walked out of there were best friends with Gabe Ellis and his buddies in around this drug ring. The dad they went to go notify, Daniel Height, he was found dead before the law ever gave him any heads up. Hey, you just lost your children and the mother of your children to a fire. I look up all those names, kind of show that to you, but it just makes you wonder, like, whoa, all these names, this drug ring in and around this, but nothing to see here. Come on.